Look around you. Every single person you have ever met, everyone you have ever seen, everyone alive on Earth right now is the same kind of creature as you. One species, Homo sapiens. That feels completely normal. Of course, there's only one kind of human. What else would there be? But that normal feeling is one of the strangest illusions of your entire existence. Because for almost the whole history of humanity, it was not true at all. Most people imagine human evolution as a straight line. A hunched ape slowly stands up step by step and becomes us at the end. A single ladder from monkey to man. But that's not quite right, and the truth is far stranger and far lonelier than a ladder. Because the human family was never a line, it was a crowded, branching bush. And for most of the last few 100,000 years, you would not have been the only kind of human on the planet. You would have shared it with others. Picture the Earth around 50,000 years ago. If you could walk across it, you would meet more than one kind of human. In Europe and the Middle East, you would find the Neanderthals, stockier than you, more muscular, with heavy brows, and, remarkably, brains slightly larger than your own. Far to the east, in the caves of Siberia and across Asia, lived another group we now call the Denisovans. For a long time, we didn't even know they existed. On a remote island called Flores in Indonesia, there was something stranger still. A tiny species of human, barely more than a meter tall, with brains the size of a chimpanzee. Scientists nicknamed them the hobbits. And they were real, and they were recent. On Flores, these tiny humans hunted dwarf elephants the size of ponies, dodged giant storks and Komodo dragons, and shaped stone tools with their small hands, right up until around 50,000 years ago. When their bones were first described in 2003, some scientists flat out refused to believe a human could be that small and that strange. But there they were. And in Africa, there were others still, including a small-brained species we now call Homo naledi, who may have been doing surprisingly human things in the dark. At least 4 or 5 different kinds of human, alive, at the same time sharing the same planet. Some of them may have seen each other. Some of them we now know met. And these were not shuffling brutes. That old image of the Neanderthal as a dumb caveman is simply wrong. Neanderthals controlled fire. They made sophisticated stone tools. They cared for their sick and their injured. They buried their dead. Some evidence suggests they made jewelry and used pigment, marking things with color. They survived the brutal ice ages of Europe for hundreds of thousands of years, far longer than modern humans have existed so far. They were, by any honest measure, people, different people, but people. And here is what makes it land. These were not distant ancestors separated from us by millions of years. Neanderthals were still alive and hunting in Europe when the first modern humans were painting animals onto cave walls, just a few valleys away. For thousands of years, 2 entirely different kinds of human-made tools made fire and made art on the same continent at the same time. We did not simply replace something ancient and gone. We watched our own cousins vanish. So here is the question that should haunt you. If the world was once full of other kinds of humans, intelligent, fire-making, tool-building, dead-burying humans, then where did they all go? Because they are gone, every last one of them. One by one, across tens of thousands of years, each of these other human species flickered out until only a single kind was left standing. You. And the truth is, we still don't completely know why. Scientists have several ideas, and the real answer is probably a mix of all of them. The first is competition. As modern humans spread out of Africa and into the rest of the world, we may simply have been better at surviving. Better tools, better hunting, wider social networks, more efficient use of food. In a hard world, a small edge is enough. We may have slowly outcompeted the others for the same land and the same prey until they starved out. The second is climate. The world of that time was violent and unstable, lurching between deep ice ages and sudden warmings. A small, specialized population, like the Neanderthals, perfectly adapted to cold Europe, could be devastated when the climate swung against them. The third possibility is darker, that we killed them. As 2 kinds of human met over the same valley, the same herd, the same caves, and it's not hard to imagine the violence that could follow. We have no clear proof of a great war, but we know exactly what our species is capable of. And the fourth possibility is the strangest and most intimate of all, that we didn't only fight them, we loved them, because they did not vanish completely, not really. In the 2000s, a scientist named Svante Pabo did something that once seemed impossible. He and his team recovered ancient DNA from Neanderthal bones, and later from a single finger bone that turned out to belong to a Denisovan. He read the genome of extinct humans. For that work, he was awarded a Nobel Prize. And when scientists compared those ancient genomes to ours, they found something astonishing. Most people alive today, everyone whose ancestry runs outside of Africa, carries roughly 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. Some populations across Asia and the Pacific carry Denisovan DNA as well. The Denisovans are the strangest case of all. We have almost no bones of them at all. A pinky fingertip, a few teeth, a fragment of jaw. Nearly everything we know about an entire kind of human comes from the DNA locked inside those tiny scraps. And yet that DNA is still doing its job today. The gene that lets people in Tibet breathe easily miles above sea level was handed to them by a Denisovan ancestor. A vanished people are still quietly helping their descendants survive the thin mountain air. That means tens of thousands of years ago, our ancestors did not just meet these other humans, they had children with them, families, bloodlines that merged and never fully separated again. The other humans didn't all simply die. Some of them were absorbed into us. Right now, inside your own cells, there are fragments of a Neanderthal who lived and died 40,000 years ago. Genes that affect your skin, your immune system, even how you sleep, are inheritances from a different kind of human that no longer walks the earth. They are extinct, and they are also quietly still here. So here is the part that changes everything. You are not the top rung of a ladder. You are the last survivor of a crowded, vanished family. For most of human history, being human meant being one kind among several. Sharing the world with other people who looked different, thought differently, and yet lit fires and buried their dead just like you. And then one by one, over tens of thousands of years, they went out. Whether we outcompeted them, or the climate killed them, or we hunted them, or we simply blended them into ourselves, the result was the same. The bush was pruned down to a single branch. For the first time in the entire story of our kind, there's only one type of human left. And that has been true for only the last few tens of thousands of years, a blink in the long history of our species. We are right now profoundly alone. The only human minds on Earth are our own. And maybe that explains something about us, why we stare up at the stars and ache to find that we are not alone in the universe, why we build machines and hope they will one day think and talk back to us, why the idea of meeting another kind of intelligence thrills us and terrifies us in equal measure. Perhaps some part of us remembers in our bones and in our borrowed genes that we were not always the only ones, that the world used to be full of other kinds of people, and that we have spent the last 40,000 years as the sole survivors of a family that once shared the whole earth. So the next time you look around a crowded room and see nothing but your own kind of human, and it feels so ordinary that you never even question it, remember how strange that really is. You are not the natural, obvious, only kind of human. You are simply the one that was left. And every other branch of your family is gone from the world, still whispering faintly from inside your own blood.